here in a few minutes, shower up, and well, because I've had good bowel movements the last 2 days. I had a shower. I got to clean off the parts where the poison comes out, so it doesn't get agitated and you don't develop rectal polyps. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you, Bob. Yeah. Well, Bob is my witness. That from Angelica. I was watching some of Little House on the Prairie, and Laura's dreaming about, being rich, and because Nellie Olson's such a shit, So I was laughing. I said, "This is goofy." Yeah, it is goofy. Yeah, life. Don't talk to me about life. Marvin, I love you. It wouldn't be so bad. A car. You know what really makes me mad? They clean me with a Brillo pad. A car wash wouldn't be so bad. You ever heard that song? It's stupid. Yeah, it's very stupid. It's from the 1980s. But I was sitting there, and I got to run up. I got to run up on the roof, and I got to caulk Dad's skylight over the laundry room so it doesn't leak. Then I'll go get my shots up and listen to these. And I was going to do that yesterday, but I had to go with Dad to his eye appointment, which is totally okay. And it just threw my feng shui off for December here. Yeah, because we've been going to bed earlier, waking up earlier, doing the things, little ordinary things that I ought to do. Not really. I'm just changing. I'm going to a winter schedule. I was still kind of mentally and emotionally on a summer schedule. And then my body, I was just changing it like they do in the military when they change you to mid-shift, night shift every 3 months and stuff to just keep you out of whack. So you accept orders and obey orders. Right? And I was sitting there, and they had this thing with this guy Waters from Fox News. Right? It's Judgment Day, right? And he sits there and real sarcastically says this terrorist in Venezuela is praying to Jesus. It's like, they call me Speedo, but I gotta look that thing up and put it on my real name is Little Earl. You might want to play Little Earl. Well, I ain't little. I'm about 240 pounds. I've been chemically poisoned by your business partners. Yeah, perverts. Okay. So, the best way to help you, stand up for the Lord's Prayer. Okay. If the dictator of Venezuela is actually praying to Jesus, okay. Well, the fuck for the bucks stops here. And if you want to be saved from this current situation, general amnesty, get your best sources and everything out and go out in the streets. And we all need to stand up, have all of Venezuela screaming the Lord's Prayer at the top of their lungs. And if you can't do that, no, do it. Well, then, because the military, we've got quantum computing and artificial general intelligence. And so if the U.S. military that values life, okay, wants to, act your age, not your shoe size, Prince Rogers Nelson, right? But everybody, lots of people said that, but he put it in a song, right? And sold it for money. Yeah, there you go. But you put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, put your money where your mouth. They all put their money where their mouth is. Okay. Where is it? Near genitalia. World's first profession. There you go. All right. So I'll be watching the stuff, and that guy's obnoxious as fuck, man. They're all obnoxious as fuck. Okay. And then they talk about it when when Bill Obama was in office. That fucking asshole. He watched me. I wouldn't be in your situation. No, he wouldn't be in Cochise County with his wife being sexually predicated on by military intel and it affecting her children. No, he wouldn't be there. He's too good. He protects his wife and his children from being sexually abused and predicated on by the military. How Taliban of you. Well, let's look at that. Mary Magdalene. Was Jesus able to keep his betrothed from being sexually predicated on by the military? Barack Hussein Obama? Do you remember the days of slavery? Do you remember what Marcus Garvey said? People without a knowledge and a history. See why Marcus Garvey isn't Haile Selassie, and I don't have a portrait of Marcus Garvey on my wall, but I do of Haile Selassie. So beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how they suffer for their sanity, and they can't set themselves free. They're not listening. They're not listening still. They weren't listening. They weren't listening still. Perhaps they never will. That's not as relevant right now that we have quantum computing and artificial general intelligence, guys. The technology is listening for you. The technology is equating, and it's doing it for Xi in China. It's doing it for Putin in Russia. It's doing it for Zelensky in Ukraine. It's doing it for Maduro in Venezuela. ¿Tú entiendes? Okay. So, and there's no translation problems. There's no truth is truth. It's a math. 1 and 1 is 2 in Mandarin. Remember that guy at the freaking library? I can't remember his name, but I sat there and said that. So I said, but 20 pounds isn't 20 pounds on the moon. It's like, it's still 20 pounds. The gravity is just different on the moon than it is on planet Earth. I don't think you understand what you're talking about. Okay. 1 and 1 is 2. Alan Watts, when Alan Gibson was telling me about that, 2 and 2 is always 4, right? And so if someone comes up, well, actually, it's a misperception. It's actually 3.5 and 4/4 of the, and you're like, no, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, So you don't sit there and say, on the moon, 2 and 2 is still 4, okay? And on Earth, 2 and 2 is 4. If you go to Mars or Venus, but you get cooked on Venus, so hey, the 4 ain't 4 no more because it's matter and it's broken into different. Now it's quirking. So quirking. What about twerking? They can't twerk on Venus. On Mars, probably you could twerk on Mars. Yeah, and artificially, it's not artificial. It's just it's not an artificial environment. It's a replication, invention of an environment, okay, that cannot be sustained by the laws of nature, okay, over time to have a life of sacrifice. Do you understand? I'm more intelligent than most scientists. They're kind of, wait, what do you mean? I want Daff Eddie, foo, right? And you're like, okay, do you understand what you're talking about? And do you understand how it applies in physics? Okay. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. What a man, what a mighty good man. Of course, because one source, we are sourced by the infinite glory of God, okay? And that's how, Cochise and me and Suzuki and so forth, you see what I'm saying? That our faith is based on the same humility, okay? And so when you're talking about Krishnamurti, when you're talking about D.T. Suzuki, you're talking about Jesus, you're talking about Muhammad, you're talking about people that have faith based on, that's why in the Quran it says that the line of Muhammad, and it's also in it's all the surahs, they say it, it says that during the apocalypse, that my nephew, it will be the spirit of Abraham, sired by somebody that comes from people that were part of the mingling of the people in the Iberian Peninsula during the Moors. They called it occupation. It was more of a migration than an occupation, guys. Okay. There was people being treated poorly, and they asked for help. Okay. No, really? You're kidding. There would be guys in Spain that were treating their women and children worse than guys from North Africa. Yeah, it happens. And let's look. Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day, okay? There could be guys from North Africa or South Africa, okay, that treat their women and children, okay, better than Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and George Bush. Get out of here. No, there could be a guy from Jamaica with dreadlocks that speaks Patois, okay, that treats his women and children Better than Jimmy Carter and Gerald Ford and Henry Kissinger? Yes. And Nelson Rockefeller? Of course. Because we're one source, of course. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of faith in creation. You just see what I'm saying? There could be a guy who had his dad murdered in Nebraska trying to live the American nightmare, okay, that treats his women and children, okay, better than Lyndon Baines Johnson, right? No, I'm not going to say that about the Kennedys. The Kennedys were put in duress and in very difficult conditions because of politics, and then got into the politics and met the Messiah and went, shit, over our head, and it don't feel nice, right? And they tried to get up and be pragmatic and say the right thing, and the video footage that was captured was not released until years after both their murders, okay? And the dialogue with Robert Kennedy talking about, no, we're not going, and John Rhys Geddes, I think was his name, the guy that sent in the thing to go kill the Vietnamese president and his wife. And Bobby said, no, we can't do this. Why? Because then it makes it open season on them to kill my brother. And I'm not going to do that. This is a Vietnamese problem and a Vietnamese issue, and they need to deal with it on their own accord in their own way. We will not participate. If it happens, it happens, but that's of their own design. Okay, it's of their own accord. We will not participate, fund, and put, people on the ground to go kill the president of Vietnam and his wife, because then that makes it open season for Castro and Khrushchev and others to kill my brother. Okay? Is what Bobby said. And the assholes in the CIA and all that. And that's when Colby probably got killed. Because Colby was the head of the CIA, and I was like, he's right. And then Colby ended up dead. Okay. Well, because Colby was Richard Burton and, Richard Burton mostly from Where Eagles Dare. Okay. And he got into it, and he thought, well, who can I trust? And then he found out the only person he could trust was Bob Kennedy. Only person Jack could trust. Bob will send Bob there. And then Colby was like, shit, what do I do? And they killed Colby. Okay. James Colby, head of the first lead of the head of the Central Intelligence Agency, was killed by his own business partners because he didn't understand the business, because he was a naive warrior that thought he was doing the right thing. But living the Lord's Prayer is not war. There are no secrets to the book of Hebrews and the book of this. There are no secrets to the Gospels. Okay? Truth is evident, lie is obvious. Okay? The secrets, they have the videos, the 7 secrets of the book of Hebrews. There's no fucking secrets in the book of Hebrews. No. There's misinterpretations and translations that don't equate, like I told people when I first started loading videos out of, they probably don't have them published or public, or might have destroyed them. But I've repeated it numerous times. If it equates, accept it. If it doesn't, reject it. Anything that I'm saying that is sensationalized or seems like gossip, that's just to attract attention to the actual evidence of the truth and to eliminate the obviousness of people accepting lie. Forgive debt and trespass, love all, eternal, faithful peace. Life's eternal, grace is infinite, share, care, given according to need, built to last. There you go. Okay. That's the only thing that can keep the guy that old Mr. Waters says on Judgment Day is praying to Jesus. I gave you evidence. You're obviously stuck in your obvious. Answer to your prayer. I don't think Carolyn Levitt or Donald Trump or the cute little reporters that he carries around on his plane can help you out. I don't think they can help themselves out. I know they can't help themselves out. They're not like Robert Kennedy, not like Robert Kennedy, not like Haile Selassie, not like Steve Biko, not like Nesta Robert Marley. Okay? Even his own kids, you got to understand, Rita wasn't with him 24/7. And his kids were kids when he was murdered. Okay? So what was happening in his life and what was happening to them is just sometimes it seems like it's just as big of a mystery to his own kids and his own wife. Okay. Same with the descendants of Haile Selassie, Judah Krishnamurti, and D.T. Suzuki. All right. Green, I pick it up, I say yellow. ¿Tú entiendes? Muy bien, all right. Lord's Prayer. Es perfecto. Órale. Man, I can't pow nobody. No. She's just talking. Me, like a whip. Solomon's Temple. Y'all doing philanthropy and pornography and prostitution at Solomon's Temple. Using the story of Jesus to mass murder and say we value life and it's well within the law. All I've got to do is just make sure the math is spot on and AGI, quantum computing, and no translation problems. All right, guys? I love you, man. Peace out.